too busy winning. We too busy winning. We too busy winning. My squad's in it to win it. We gon' push it to the limit. Tabs ticking, but the pace of the game switches in minutes. We in it for the glory, so fame ain't why we in it. We ain't noticed you was losing. We was way too busy winning. I came in the place with my game face on. About to show out. I ain't finna wait that long. We gon' beat them. It ain't finna take that long. We are the champions, man. They hate that song. They bustin', man, cause my team getting buckets. Looking at they bench, they whole team is disgusted. Crazy part about it is they ain't seen nothing, cause I'm about to cross it just to make them lean before I dunk it. Please let me work, I'ma need me some. Feels like a Mack truck when I'm coming. I get past the screen just to lay it up. Player that's like, please let me work, I'ma need me some. Feels like a Mack truck when I'm coming. I get past the screen just to lay it up. Player that's squad's in it to win it. We gon' push it to the limit. Tabs ticking, but the pace of the game switches in minutes. We in it for the glory, so fame ain't why we in it. We ain't noticed you was losing. We was way too busy winning. Squad's in it to win it. We gon' push it to the limit. Tabs ticking, but the pace of the game switches in minutes. We in it for the glory, so fame ain't why we in it. We ain't noticed you was losing. We was way too busy winning. That's who's sitting beside me. Got a jersey with my name, the whole city behind me. I ain't taking no losses and ain't dealing with poverty, so I'm definitely winning. Something feeling some robbery. Taking what I want, though it seems so drastic. Got the mind of a champ, need the rings to match it. That's why it ain't no players on my team relaxing. We hit game winning threes to see a team's reaction. Like, ooh, we could be cool, but we ain't trying to lose. When we on that court, boy, you know what it do. Can't take a loss, so we leave that to you. Yeah, to you. Like, ooh, we can be cool, but we ain't trying to lose. When we on that court, boy, you know what it do. Can't take a loss, so we leave that to you. Yeah, to you. Yeah, to you. Squad's in it to win it. We gon' push it to the limit. Tabs ticking, but the pace of the game switches in minutes. We in it for the glory, so fame ain't why we in it. We ain't noticed you was losing. We was way too busy winning. Squad's in it to win it. We gon' push it to the limit. Tabs ticking, but the pace of the game switches in minutes. We in it for the glory, so fame ain't why we in it. We ain't noticed you was losing. We was way too busy winning. That's who's sitting beside me. Got a jersey with my name, the whole city behind me. I ain't taking no losses and ain't dealing with poverty, so I'm definitely winning. Something feeling some robbery. Taking what I want, though it seems so drastic. Got the mind of a champ, need the rings to match it. That's why it ain't no players on my team relaxing. We hit game winning threes to see a team's reaction. Like, ooh, we could be cool, but we ain't trying to lose. When we on that court, boy, you know what it do. Can't take a loss, so we leave that to you. Yeah, to you. Like, ooh, we can be cool, but we ain't trying to lose. When we on that court, boy, you know what it do. Can't take a loss, so we leave that to you. Yeah, to you. Yeah, to you. Squad's in it to win it. We gon' push it to the limit. Tabs ticking, but the pace of the game switches in minutes. We in it for the glory, so fame ain't why we in it. We ain't noticed you was losing. We was way too busy winning. Squad's in it to win it. We gon' push it to the limit. Tabs ticking, but the pace of the game switches in minutes. We in it for the glory, so fame ain't why we in it. We ain't noticed you was losing. We was way too busy winning. That's right. Seems so drastic. Oh yeah!
Hey, welcome, Bucs fans. Voice of the Bucs, Mark Johnson here, getting ready for the men's Pac-12 Conference Tournament in Las Vegas. We've got our virtual pregame show. The Alumni Association and the Alumni C Club have been hosting virtual pregames throughout the season, and we're excited to continue the spirit of that into the postseason. We got some special guests right off the top here. We'd like to welcome President Mark Kennedy. We got CU Boulder Chancellor Phil DiStefano and Athletic Director Rick, George, gentlemen, it's always fun when the madness happens in college basketball. We get here for the postseason, and President Kennedy will lead off with you. What a fun season it's been for our Buffaloes this year. They've been outstanding, haven't they?
They have been for both the men's and the women's, and it really lifts us up. And we all wish we could be watching them in person, but it's just great to see their success, and they're a real boost to all of us during this period of separation. We're cheering for them.
You know, Phil, we've had now Tad Boyle here as a leader of this program for 11 seasons, but yeah, this might be, and you've been here for all of them, this might be as fun a season as his program has had since he came on board.
I agree with that, Mark. Tad's done a wonderful job, and I just love these players. You know, we talk a lot about McKinley Wright, and he's such a leader on the floor, but the other players as well. You know, when you look at Maddox, who came in, I just think he's a terrific young guy, and you know, played with us for 2 seasons. You look at Dallas, and being with us for 4 years. Tad has really put together a top team, and they're doing such incredible work. Rick and I, we were in China together with the team, and that was so exciting. We got to know them, got to know the players really well. And you're right, Tad's been here for 11 years. I remember interviewing him for the position, and Tad said to me, and I'll never forget it, he said the number one issue when he's out recruiting is character. And you can see that character with all the players that he has on the team right now.
Just to dovetail off of that, Rick, when you, as an athletic director, you want your programs obviously to represent this university in the athletic department, but you want them to do it the right way. And I've been in this game a long time and run a lot of coaches who won a lot of games. Not all of them have that character element that Tad brings to the table here for the Buffaloes.
No, they don't. And Tad has represented this university in an incredible fashion since he's been here. And, when you hear people talk about Tad, the one thing they always say is he's going to do things the right way. And, and the chancellor touched on, the character. And the character of this team is very cohesive. They love each other. They play hard for each other. This group has done an incredible job of following our protocols. We're going to have played our last game, and I think of all of our regular season's games, we got them all in, and that's a mark of discipline. And so I really applaud them getting to this point.
Yeah, President Kennedy, I want to get a comment for you on what Rick just talked about there. We all in society and here in the university world and certainly in athletics have kind of had to navigate some choppy waters here in the last 10, 11, 12 months, obviously. It's been an amazing job that our basketball teams have done kind of adhering to the guidelines as student athletes and doing what they're supposed to do. That makes this institution proud.
It absolutely makes us proud. And having that cohesiveness and getting through all of the pandemic issues that you have to struggle with, in addition to going out on the court and playing fabulous basketball and being a good example for all of our other students, it does make us proud. And we're proud of both these teams and the leadership that they've shown.
Phil, you mentioned McKinley Wright a while ago, and obviously he gets the lion's share of kind of the spotlight for this basketball team, and for good reasons. He's going to go down as one of the greats of all time here at the University of Colorado. As you've watched him over the course of his 4 years, Phil, what stands out? What comes to mind?
Well, number one, Mark, is leadership. If you watch him on the court, he is the leader, and he fires them up when he needs to. He talks to the players when they need to be talked to. He's really taken on that leadership role, and I'm looking forward. I would say next year Evan will probably take on that leadership role as well. But McKinley has really done that this year. He's proven to be a true leader on the court.
And Rick, one thing about you as the athletic director, you get really, on a first-name basis with all of our student athletes. It always amazes me how you remember all their names. I do the games, and I have a tough time with that. But I know you've had a lot of great one-on-one conversations with McKinley over the time of his that he's been at Buffalo. What stands out to you?
Well, look, I mean, he's just an incredible young man, and you talk about character, you talk about drive, you talk about all the things that you want in somebody that's going to be successful. He's got it. I know when I gave him the game ball a week or so ago for his things that he's accomplished this year. I put my arm around him and we were talking, and I said, look, this is the time where we need to put our pedal down and get this thing moving. And if you got to carry him on your back, carry him on your back, but let's go get him. And, that's kind of what he does. At times when, there might be a little lull and we're not doing so well, he steps it up and gets them going. So, having that kind of leader is great. But, the chancellor mentioned a lot of them. Deshaun Swartz, Jariah Horns come in and done an incredible job. You got a Jabari Walker that's a freshman, and, Tristan Da Silva. I mean, there's so many on that team that have done so much. And Evan Batty, I mean, we're not even talking about him. Gosh, he's an incredible leader as well. So it's a great team that he's put together and a great group of young men.
Yeah, without question. I borrowed that line that I've heard before, and I use it about McKinley all the time. He might not be in a class by himself, but the class he is in, it doesn't take long to take roll call. He'll go down as one of the great Buffaloes of all time. Now, President Kennedy wasn't with the three of us, the two of us, I should say, the three of us, technically, with Phil and Rick and I. Last time when he did this, we got a great message from him, but we wasn't part of the conversation about what kind of skill each one of you gentlemen brought to the table back in the day as a basketball player. And I think the one we talked about before the women's tournament, I think Chancellor DeStefano, you really set the bar very high. President Kennedy might not know that you were actually in a ball game where you scored 100% of your team's points, and I think that's worth repeating on this program.
And we lost, yeah. So I was the top scorer, 100% of the points. The first intramural game that we played in high school, and we lost 48-2. So the good news was I scored all the points. The bad news, there were 2.
Who knew that Phil had that kind of offensive firepower? Rick, you played quite a bit of basketball, and your story from growing up, you played on a team with a lot of big-time athletes on that team besides yourself.
Yeah, we were 28-2 that year, and we had 3 of my teammates that played Division I basketball at Arizona, Purdue, and Tennessee, and I played Division I football at the University of Illinois. So 4 of the 5 of us, went on to play Division I, and had success in our careers as well.
Well, now we got to give President Kennedy the opportunity. I'm not sure he ever scored 100% of his team's points, but Mark, back in the day, what kind of ball player might you have been?
Well, let me just first say, before I talk about my own ball playing, that as a fourth-generation Minnesotan, McKinley Wright just goes to show that if you recruit talent from Minnesota, good things happen. So we're very proud of him and his background, and I was pleased to have a chance to watch both teams last season. So I played basketball in high school. I'm a 7-time Letterman. When I was in my business career, I played for the Pillsbury Company. When I was in Congress, I played for a congressional team. So I love basketball. My worst moment and my best moment are kind of related. I missed a free throw in a playoff game that we lost by 1 point, which stuck with me. So I spent a lot of time practicing free throws, and I ended up being in college our conference's intramural free throw shooting champion, shooting 56 out of 60 free throws in a contest to win the conference intramural. And that's where I'm so proud that the men's are the all free throw percentage, 83.1%, leads the nation. That's just makes me so proud. Debbie, every time she watches a game with me, knows that I'm watching those free throws and say free throws typically make the difference in the game. And I think that's a big part of the success of this basketball team is I found out a little too late, but they learn to shoot free throws.
That's great. That just goes to prove right there. You have a little failure that you use to motivate yourself to go on to have success. I love that. That's a good story right there. Hey, gentlemen, before we wrap up this conversation, I think it's appropriate that maybe each one of you, and President Kennedy, will start with you, give a shout out to the fan base this year, considering that they could not be at the games, but yet I know they came out in spirit and really supported this university and this athletic program and this team, didn't they?
They absolutely did, and that sixth person on the court really makes a difference. And I know this team knows that both of these teams know that they got a lot of great support, and so we appreciate the fans sticking with us during this period, and we look forward to seeing them all on the court next season.
And Phil, I know you feel the same way, the way that Buff Nation has kind of supported the University of Colorado.
Absolutely, Mark. And, as I mentioned before, just with the cardboard cutouts of fans and, watching McKinley and Evan giving them high fives after the last game with UCLA and prior to that with USC, that was something great to watch, high fiving the fans there.
And Rick, from your standpoint as the athletic director, boy, I can tell you the fans that I've been talking to, they can't wait to get their season tickets for football season and basketball season to get back in the house to cheer on the Buffaloes next year.
No, they can't. And I get some really good stories over email and on my Twitter account on how people would come to the game and mop the floors and do whatever we need to do to be able to get in there and watch this team play. But, our fans have been great when the event center is packed. It's raucous, and it really does, as President Kennedy says, add that sixth man to the floor and makes a difference in the outcome of the game. So we miss them. We look forward to having them back this fall and this winter.
Yeah, without question. Gentlemen, great to catch up with all of you. We get a chance to cheer on the Buffaloes tonight as they open up their play in the Pac-12 Conference Men's Tournament in Las Vegas. Right now, we'll pivot. It's my pleasure to introduce Kimberly Orr, the Alumni C Club Executive Director, my dear friend, for a panel discussion with a few of our famous CU alumni. Kimberly?
Hello, and thank you for being here today to join us with members of the 2011-2012 Colorado Buffaloes Championship men's basketball team. The gentlemen we're going to speak with today won the Pac-12 tournament, and they had quite the journey to get there, a journey that really came from them driving forward, believing in themselves, taking that team championship approach and winning it all. It has been so much fun this past season to reimagine the at-home fan experience, to feel just as immersive in real time and the roaring thunder in the stands, but actually we're all sitting here looking at each other in our Hollywood squares of Zoom. But it is wonderful to be here with each and every one of you. I'm going to ask each gentleman to introduce themselves. So Austin, we are going to start with you. Would you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about who you were on that team. Where did you play? Your number, anything you want to share. And then tell us a little bit about where you are now and what you're up to.
All right. Well, first of all, thanks for putting this together, getting everybody together to talk about that great season we had. I played at Colorado from the 2008-2009 season until 2012. So I was a senior on the team that won the Pac-12 championship. Had a great career at Colorado, played there all 4 years, and then played overseas for 6 years in Europe and Japan. And then since then, I've been working in the NBA for the past 3 years. 1 year with the Los Angeles Lakers, and then the last 2 I've been with the Detroit Pistons. So just excited to be here. Thanks for having everybody.
You're so welcome. Thank you for joining us today, Austin. Ben, I'm going to shoot up to you. Tell us a little bit about your role on the team and how long you played for Colorado and what you're up to now.
So I was with CU from 2010 to 14. I was a sophomore on that Pac-12 championship team. Just started a new opportunity with a company called Avalara, a little bit outside the basketball realm compared to a lot of these guys on here, but it's a tax compliance software. Excited to kind of learn a new business and get familiar with everything there. But again, to echo what Austin said, appreciate you putting this together. Excited to catch up with everybody.
Sabatino, I'm going to toss to you. Tell us a little bit about your role on the team and what you're up to now.
I was playing for CU from 2010 to 2013. I was a redshirt junior on that championship team. And then I went overseas, played basketball over in Taiwan for a few years. Now I'm back in Denver doing data analyst work for a startup called Course. So yeah, good to see all you guys.
Thank you, Sabatino. Welcome. Jeremy, tell me about your role on the team and what you're up to now.
Yeah, so I was a CU student athlete from 2011 to 2013. I was a guy that came off the bench and did the dirty work for the 10 minutes a game I averaged. Right now, right now, I didn't go and pursue a professional basketball career, but I got suckered into higher education, higher learning, pursued my master's in industrial psychology, and currently trying to finish this dissertation so I can get my doctorate in performance psychology.
That's
And
great.
thanks for putting this together.
You're very welcome. Noble work indeed. Carlin Brown, I'm going to shoot to you and tell us a little bit about your time playing for CU. Your story, I think, is fabulous. And I am going to just say up front, Carlin Brown, MVP of the 2012 Pac-12 Men's Basketball Tournament. Carlin, take it away.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, Carlin Brown, AKA What Can Brown Do For You, AKA the lone vegan from Riverside, California. But I only played at CU for 1 year and had a great time with these guys, getting to know them and getting to build a foundation to what we see today. And after my time at CU, I had a couple summer league tries, played preseason with the Warriors and did their training camp, and played in the G League, played 4 years overseas. And now I'm a head coach of a high school team out here in Peoria, Arizona. So
Great. Welcome. And Nate Tomlinson, I love watching you on the court during every game. We all know that you are coaching for the Colorado Buffaloes currently, and I think you're really fun to watch on the team. When you get fired up, I get fired up on my couch too. So Nate, please introduce yourself. Tell us about your playing days and what your role is now with CU men's basketball.
Yeah, thanks, Kimberly, for putting this together. I was at CU from 2008 to 2012. My role on that team was kind of the grumpy old guy. But, I've been here for too long, but that year was a special year. After that, I went and played 6 seasons overseas, back home in Australia. And obviously now, like you said, I'm back here on staff with the basketball team, and it's no place I'd rather be.
I would like to know, and this is open to anybody who wants to jump in, because I know you're going to all love this question. Do you have a favorite memory of playing at CU? I'll start with you, Nate, and let you guys jump in.
Yeah, I think the obvious answer is, obviously that night in LA, winning the championship. It's kind of the reason why I chose to come to CU, was to see it ascend to something like that, and be possible to win a championship. And me and Austin, were roommates for 4 years and kind of saw the thing grow from the ground up. So that was pretty special. But honestly, this year has kind of changed my thinking. Playing in front of an empty Coors Event Center has been kind of depressing at times, and realizing how lucky we were, especially that 2011, 2012 season when the fan base really grew and grew, and the student section just took off, to unseen real heights before that. Comparing that to this year, we're pretty lucky to play in front of some awesome crowds. So I think just the night in, night out, support that we had from the fan base and the student section was pretty memorable.
That's great. Sabatina, would you like to add to that?
One of my favorite memories is being able to go over to Europe and the season afterwards. I thought that was just an awesome experience, being able to get to do that. Never got to go to Europe before, and then so got to play basketball with my teammates over. Where did we go? Belgium and Paris and Amsterdam, I think. So yeah, that was fun.
Ben, how about you? What memory would you share of playing at CU?
Yeah, to both Nate and Sab's point, getting to play with everybody here was definitely a highlight. Winning the championship is always going to be the end goal, something that we'll always reflect on. But outside of that, getting to play in front of just a full Coors Event Center was always every single game was a fun experience. Playing against Kansas, that game winner buzzer beater. My senior year is definitely a highlight I'll always remember. And in my 4 years, we had plenty of those types of games. I'm thinking back to my freshman year in the Big 12 when we beat Texas. There's a handful to choose from, but ultimately just nothing but good experiences with the Buffs.
Great. Austin, what would you add?
I think just to pick out one specific memory would be almost impossible, just because every season there were different things that happened that I look back on, but I think Nate kind of hit on it, the totality of what we were able to build over 4 years. I think our freshman year, we won 9 games to go from that, to as juniors and seniors winning 25 games each season and, playing in the postseason and, getting to play in the NCAA tournament, just the totality of what we were able to accomplish over those 4 years, I think looking back on is something to be proud of. And it was just great to be a part of. And our fan base was unbelievable, just the way it changed in 4 years, and to play in Albuquerque in the NCAA tournament and have half the building be CU fans just kind of showed where the program went from when we started.
That's great trajectory for sure. Jeremy, would you like to add to a memory from playing at CU?
Yes, I have quite a few. Obviously, as everyone's mentioned, the Pac-12 championship game. That's something that's going to be hard to beat. But in hindsight, as I've gotten older, and it's kind of hard to take in when you're actually in that moment, but I actually like to leave and practice every day and go into the locker room and just like making some jokes, kind of chilling out, hanging out a little bit before you have to get to class or get ready to call it a night because you got to wake up maybe at 5 a.m. to do it again the next day. Those memories right there are probably some of my favorite, because you actually just chopped it up with the guys and got to, build that brotherhood even more so. So a lot of times in the moment, we probably didn't really realize it because we were just like, oh, I got class, I got to go to study hall. But yeah, looking back on it, it was definitely the moments before and after practice where you're just like in the locker room, making jokes and having conversations. And I want to add one thing. The Valentine's Day Massacre, after Sabatino's shot didn't count, that would probably have to be my favorite on-court memory aside from Pac-12 championship. Because we blew them out. We blew Arizona out. It was ugly. That's it.
Nate's giving some props over there.
I have to add also, after like our big wins each year I think Ben always picked the banger that we'd play afterwards.
Yeah.
In the
a lot of
Taylor
Swift that following year.
No brainer.
That's great. Carlin, we'd love to hear from you. What memories do you have from playing at CU?
One of the favorite things I enjoyed was seeing each and every guy have an impact during that run. I think we all played to our strengths, and we didn't try to do anything more than we could, we were capable of. But it was an energy about us where I felt like, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but we felt like once we got past Oregon, and even in that game, we just felt like we weren't going to lose. We had this swagger about us. We had this energy, this confidence that no matter what, we're going to come out and win this thing.
But I would like to know if anyone else would like to share a favorite teammate story.
I can jump in. I'll talk about after winning the Pac-12 championship, that something I'll personally never forget is that plane ride back home. Just the excitement on the plane, everybody just happy playing We Are the Champions, trying to figure out how we're going to celebrate once we land. That's just that's something I'll never forget. That was probably the most fun 2-hour plane ride I've had.
I love that story because I was on a call with Mindy Scalero yesterday, and you all remember Mindy. She said, Kimberly, when you're working with the team tomorrow, ask them if they remember the song they sang on the plane. So I love that that's part of your story, Ben. Thank you for sharing that. Austin, how about you? What story can you share with us?
2 come to mind. One comes from earlier in my career. I think I was a junior, and we were playing Missouri, and it was a close game at our place. I think we ended up winning, but I missed the front end of a 1-and-1 down the stretch. And then a couple minutes later, I got fouled again.
Hey, D, you always missing free throws, bro. What's the deal?
Yeah. Seems to be a theme. But I just remember Nate grabbing me by my jersey, and he goes, if you miss this free throw, I'm going to knock you out. And I was like, first of all, I'd like to see you try. But, he just put me in the right headspace, and I went to the line. I think I knocked both of them down, and we went on to win that game. But that one sticks out. And then the other one would be in the Pac-12 tournament, coming back in the timeout, and Coach Boyles, drawing something up on the board, and all of a sudden a water bottle just gets spiked out of nowhere. Water goes everywhere, and Carlin just starts screaming like, I want it. But he was just so amped up, like in the middle of the second half. It was a close game. I believe we were playing Cal. And I just remember a water bottle just coming from over my head, smashing as coach was drawing something up on the board. But, just those two things, for whatever reason, stick in my mind.
That's funny. You make me laugh out loud. So, Carlin, I'm coming to you. What kind of stories would you share with this group?
My favorite stories came from being roommates with Ski on the road. This dude was one of the most animated human beings I've ever met in my life, and his energy was nonstop. So he was having a tough night against Oregon in the Pac-12 championship. He just wasn't playing like himself. And like AD was saying, I was animated that whole week. So I laid into him, and I remember he got a steal and he got a breakaway dunk. And then that kind of changed his whole mood, and it got him back to where he needed to be for us to be successful. So that was one of the more favorite memories. And you said keep it PG, so I can't really say his signature line, but it's something, Arizona in a loud way. So.
All right. Well, we'll let our audience use their imagination on that one. It is a family show, so we do try and keep it PG when we broadcast to our season ticket holders, fans, and donors. Jeremy, I saw you laughing, so I'm picking on you next.
Oh.
What memory would you share with this group?
To harp on what AD said about that water bottle, later on that same game, AD was so fired up, coach called a timeout. And you can actually find this on YouTube somewhere, like Buffs Stampede through Staples Center. AD's just like yelling and screaming, and all of a sudden he just goes flying. Like as far as he like slips on the ground. Yeah. 1 minute you see his head, the next you see his feet. That's something that's I always just laugh out loud when I just see that.
AD. I almost tore your ACL, bro. My fault.
He almost ruined AD's whole playing career.
All right, Nate. What memories? What are some of your favorite teammate stories that you have?
Not a specific one, Kimberly. I think the best thing about our team were how close we were. Like I said, I roomed with Austin for 4 years, with Ben for 1 or 2 years, but it was like our whole team were roommates. Like after practice, everyone would come over to our apartment and we'd all hang out. And like Jeremy said, they're kind of the things that, will last forever, and the memories we'll all be talking about, the little games we used to play and silly stuff we used to do. So those are the things that stick in my head. But actually the other day, thinking about the NCAA tournament, one thing that still gives me goosebumps is when we're at the pit in New Mexico, and like Austin said, half the gym was CU fans. It felt like the whole gym. But we're coming down. There's a huge tunnel you got to walk down to get to the court, and they introduce us. Welcome to the court, the Colorado Buffaloes. We hadn't won a game in the tournament, I think 15 or 16 years in the NCAA tournament. And we're at the top of the tunnel, and I just remember getting goosebumps hearing the crowd. Like we couldn't see him, but you could hear him. And we were coming down that tunnel, and we turned around and just looked at the guys, and I was just like, "There's no way we're losing this game. There's no way." And then we ran down. The place just went crazy. So that's something that gives me goosebumps to this day.
You've all mentioned the fans, and you've mentioned CU unit. You've mentioned the band. Nate, I'm going to ask a question of you. You are in the position where you've just finished a regular season with no fans. And as a player for CU for 4 years, you witnessed some of the greatest fans. Could you talk a little bit about what those fans mean to you? And I'm going to start with Nate, but I'd like you all to think about what do the fans, what does C unit, what does that student power behind the student athletes on the court, what does all that mean to you? And Nate, I'll start with you.
Yeah. I just think they need to understand how big of a factor they are, first of all, how important they are. Not only at home games, but the support when we're on the road. Social media wasn't huge back in my day. It makes me sound old, but now, the guys read that stuff and they see the support. So keep doing what you're doing, please. Even though you guys aren't there with us, we can still feel you guys. But it's been at the start it was kind of like a negative because there was no fans at our games. When me and Austin first started, there was we'd get 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 maybe at games, with 100 students. So it was kind of a negative. It worked against us. But when we started winning games and things started to roll on a little bit, they would, it's not cliche. They were generally like a six man. We knew if the game was tight, down the end, and the crowd would start getting into it, we knew we could just run over the top of teams, and they'd give us an energy that was unmatched. So, we played against some pretty amazing arenas in the Big 12 with great fan base, but I think second to none in the Pac-12, the C unit, the student section, and Buff Nation, our fan base is up there with everyone. I personally believe the best, the rowdiest, the most loyal, without a doubt. So it's really great to see. It's a shame, like I said, this year. It just makes you see, makes you realize how much of an impact they do have and how much we miss them. But I know they'll be back next year with a point to prove and maybe even louder than what they have been in the past. So I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you, Nate. And I'm sure our fans will be back in the high school and cheering you on. I know from talking with many people that they miss being there as much as you miss seeing them. Sabatino, can you talk about what the fans meant to you on the court? And if anybody has a favorite fan story, that's welcome too.
Yeah, no, I mean, like Nate said, the fans would mean everything to me. Was for those home games, like coming in, going in early, get shots up, getting warm-ups, and you start seeing like the C unit trickle in and start filling up those seats behind the basket, like 30 minutes before the game's going to start. You knew like that they were going to be there, and fans full support. Yeah, like Nate said, like they were the sixth man, and just you almost felt like invincible at home just because of that. And when you see the whole crowd surrounding and all those, my favorite things like the snapshots afterwards were like from the high up in the rafters, showing like how packed the stands are and like people coming in to stand at the very top, even though there's like no more seats left. I thought those are my greatest memories regarding the fans.
That's great. Thank you. How about you, Ben?
I mean, the fans were everything. They, I mean, like when you travel to different places in the Pac-12 and you go to, not to throw any other universities under the bus, but you go out to Washington State or a place where they don't have a large fan presence. I mean, it's just, it makes you realize just how impactful the fans are. And for me personally, the fans and especially the student section took a liking to me from the day I stepped foot on campus. So I can't say thank you enough for the experience they gave me and really to everybody. But ultimately, they mean everything. Fans are everything, and they're a big part of the college basketball experience.
I love it. Austin, what would you like to add?
I think just any kid growing up, when you think about playing college basketball, dream about playing college basketball, you imagine, playing in front of a packed arena and just a sense of pride of playing for your school, and that sense of community that you get from the fan base. And I feel like that's something that we built, Nate and I, and as well as other guys, but over the course of the 4 years that we were there, we got to see it change. Just a random memory that sticks out is like just walking from our dorms to the games freshman year, and there's no fans are lined up, anything. We just walk into the arena. And then, junior and senior year, we lived right across the road from Coors, and, walking up and there's already 1,000, 2,000 people in line, ready to get in the building. And, you walk by all those people and see that before you even get in, 2.5 hours before the game. So being able to see that change over time was incredible. And to where it is now, unfortunately, this year's team kind of epitomizes Colorado basketball, started from McKinley going all the way down. And, they deserve to play in front of a group of fans like we have. That just means everything, I think, with the whole college basketball experience.
Couldn't agree more. Carlin, how about you? What would you like to share? Memories of a fan experience or just about fan CU unit in general?
Yeah, I think it's a culmination of what everybody said. What Nate is referring to is very real. Coaching my games, you only have 2 fans per athlete. And I'm sure AD can attest to it in some of the arenas he's traveled to. It's definitely a different experience. So you definitely miss that aspect of it. But like Jeremy was saying, and we talked about in the last time we were on here, Kimberly, that CU Unit West fan experience was really dope. And like I said, I got to see Mike Bone at 5:30 in the morning, the day of our championship game, calling every single booster in his contact, trying to get more and more people to come out to LA to watch us make history. And yeah, from the banana suits to the fat heads to the chants and the band and the outfits they wore, it was definitely a dope environment. And like Nate said, it really spurred a lot of victories. I remember vividly in the Oregon game at home. It was back and forth. It was close, tight, but between the altitude and our fans pulled us through. Arizona game at home, same thing. Washington game at home, there was a lot of great memories. And the Cal game at home too for senior night. So yeah, I mean, they mean a lot to the program, and it's going to be very interesting to see how they respond when they get that opportunity to get back in those seats.
Andre and Spencer, I wonder if you can share one memory of your time playing for CU.
My favorite memory from playing at CU was when Ben Mills was the best player on the floor for like 45 seconds of a Kansas game, hitting turnaround jumpers on Joel Embiid and whatnot. And Joel is the best center in the NBA, so that's my favorite memory.
Appreciate that one, Spence.
Andre, would you like to share a favorite memory with us as well?
I mean, my favorite memory, basketball-wise, is basically the whole NCAA run, and winning that Pac-12 championship with the guys. I'm kind of pretty sure they kind of touched on it a little bit, but that was just special, just because of how the group came together, and our level of commitment to each other was unmatched. I mean, we had fantastic guys throughout my whole career, and everybody that came through, but the level of commitment and dedication to each other and just a sense of togetherness that year was just something special. And it's kind of indescribable in a sense. It's just something you have to feel and I guess be there for. And I guess that's where, Mike Bone and everybody else kind of felt it as well. It's the reason why they try to, get as much people that kind of help impact us in a sense that year. And I just thought that was very special. That's a big time memory I have with the guys.
But we're so proud of you and the travels that you've made. It's exciting to see Andre and Spencer on the same team again. I think that's going to be fun to watch for all of us. And I think of all the shows I've taped during the entire basketball season, this is the one where I've laughed the most. So thank you, all of you, for your wonderful stories. We are so lucky to have you as alumni of the University of Colorado men's basketball program. And as the lucky person who gets to lead the Alumni C Club, thank you for being here today. I want to expressly thank Ben Mills, Sabatino Chen, Austin Default, Jeremy Adams, Nate Tomlinson, Carlin Brown, Spencer Dinwiddie, and Andre Roberson for being here with us today. You guys are just gems. And on behalf of our partnership with the CU Boulder Alumni Association, Colorado Athletics, and the Alumni C Club, I wish you well. I thank you very much. Thank you for making me laugh. Thank you for joining us today. And Nate, we are all behind you 1,000,000% as you go into the tournaments, Pac-12 tournament and the NC2A tournament. So if you guys would join me in saying two things, how about a go Buffs? Ready? Go Buffs.
Go Buffs.
Can we do it?
Go Buffs.
Go Buffs.
Go Buffs. Can we do a SCO Buffs as well?
Go Buffs. Is it on three?
You guys can do whatever you want.
On three. 1, 2, 3.
Go
Buffs.
All right, thanks, Kimberly. That's Kimberly Orr, the Alumni C Club Director, talking with some of the great alums from that Pac-12 championship season for the Colorado Buffaloes in the first year of the Pac-12, by the way. Year number 2 for Tad Boyle. Always good to hear from those guys. Right now, we got a special guest joining us here on the pregame show, Regent Sue Sharkey.
Thanks, Mark. On behalf of the Board of Regents, I want to congratulate the CU men's basketball team, Coach Boyle, and the entire staff on an amazing season. In addition to leading the nation in free throw shooting, you finished the regular season with 20 wins, including 14 conference wins, the most in Buffs history. Woohoo! You should all be very proud of your accomplishments this year. We sure are. Good luck at the Pac-12 tournament. All of CU is cheering for you. Go Buffs!
All right, thanks, Regent Sharkey. Well, are you ready for the Pac-12 Conference Tournament? It's been a great season for the Colorado Buffaloes. Another 20-win campaign for head coach Tad Boyle. The Buffaloes, the number 3 seed. They get a first-round bye as they're in the quarterfinals of the Pac-12 Tournament in Las Vegas. Before that comes up, we step aside as we wrap this up. We thank you for joining us, by the way, on this pregame show. I'm Voice of the Bus, Mark Johnson. Right now, the man himself. Here's head coach Tad Boyle.
Buff fans, thanks for taking part in this virtual tailgate and helping our team get ready emotionally and spiritually for the Pac-12 tournament. We have missed seeing you all season long, and can't tell you how much we appreciate your support from afar. We know you're with us through thick and thin, and we can't wait to see you next year. But we've got a lot of unfinished business to take care of in Las Vegas. Hopefully you'll be watching. I'm sure you will. Enjoy the tailgate, and go Buffs.
1, 2.